Hello, Mr. Coda back again with another live dev interview. This time with Dogmatic, the creators of Aquas, that beautiful river and water system that you love so much in Unity. You can splash about and get all foamy. You know you want it. He's also got a light version that's cheap as chips if you want to check it out. He's also done some other stuff, but we won't worry about that because he doesn't like to talk about it. Let's focus on Aquas. This was taken part of my live Twitch stream, www.twitch.tv/themessycoda. It was my anniversary stream where I spoke to lots of people. I had, guess what, over $11,000 worth of assets and games to give away. Oh my word, that was a lot of things, a lot of toys, a lot of presents. And if you want another present, well, guess what, you just can sit back, put your feet up, listen to the wonderful words of Dogmatic, the creator of Aquas, and I'll see you all in a second. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding.
Hi there.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Oh, well. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit because I'm just getting overexcited.
Okay.
Why? Let me, while I introduce you, because I've just
Okay.
phoned you up and haven't actually said to anyone who you are, I will load up Unity in the background.
Okay.
Everyone in chat, I want you to give a warm, messy, that just sounded bad, a warm and messy welcome to the legendary creator of Aquas, Dogmatic. We finally got him on the stream. Dogmatic, buddy, welcome to the family.
Thank you. Glad to be. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure having you. Tell everyone at home, who are you? What?
Who am I? Well, I'm only a 35-year-old small mechanical engineer from Germany who loves video games.
And sci-fi.
And sci-fi, among other things. Yeah, more than fantasy, but yeah, I mean. I think if we start talking about sci-fi right now, we're going to be talking all night. Yes. What else is there to say about me? I have a passion for video games. I still play them. I don't have enough time developing them, at least not as much as I would like to. So Aquas was actually the result of my first attempt to create a video game, but then I ran out of time and went on the market with what I already had, which was Aquas.
So Aquas was a component of a game that you're making, and then you just stripped that out and was like, actually, and I'm just going to flog this instead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was in 2015. I was unemployed for a couple of months, and it was like a year before when I started. I mean, to tell the whole story is I'm a mechanical engineer with specialization in system simulation, which is basically programming. And during that time, I started doing modeling, a lot of stuff with Blender and so on. Learn my ways with rendering and modeling and texturing, and that quickly became quite boring. And then I started using Unity. And then I got unemployed in 2015. Said to myself, okay, now you have a lot of time. Start doing something. So I started to work on an actual video game, top-down RTS, where water played a very important role. And that's basically where Aquas begins, because first, what I did is I bought all the water assets that were on the store, virtually. CETA wasn't quite there.
I was about to ask you.
CETA wasn't yet available at that time, but I've seen it. I've seen that there was a forum and that someone very talented actually, was working on making that happen. But the thing is, it wasn't good for me, because initially I wanted to develop for mobile, and CETA for mobile was impossible. So after buying Tasharon water, I can name it because it doesn't exist on the store
I
anymore.
was about to say, the what? With the what now?
Yeah, it doesn't exist on the store anymore. And I bought virtually every water asset that there was, and I always felt that something was missing, um, or in effect I couldn't use it the way I needed to. So I came up with the idea of creating my own water. And when I was done, but virtually done, I realized that I was running out of time because I got a new job and had only very little time left to go on. So I thought, what to do with the project now. I thought, well, the best part of it, the one that actually works, is the water. So I decided to share it with the community. And the initial version, since then, it has, like constantly developed. Initially, it didn't have any underwater effects. It didn't have any effects like bubbles spawning, rivers, buoyancy. It had none of it.
You didn't have any bubbles or underwater? What did you have, man?
It was the water only, but it was a bit cheaper at the beginning.
It was still better than anything Unity had.
No, I wouldn't say that, but it was what I actually required for my game. So, having it developed as a water for mobiles, and I knew firsthand that there was no solution that I would have, no other solution that I would have rather used. Um, I was confident that I would make some extra pocket money. I had no idea it would 3 years later be the most popular water asset on the store. If anybody told me, I would say you're a fool. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time.
And people posting every single day waiting for Aquas 2.
Yes, I know. And
Am I allowed to ask?
pardon? Yes, you're allowed to ask. But I presented on last year's Unite in Berlin, and I said it was going to be 3 to 6 months before I have a playable beta out.
When was that?
That retrospectively, that was in June last year.
Okay. What month are we in now?
Pardon?
What month are we in now?
We're now in January.
Okay. I'm just trying to do the maths.
No, I was just about to say that those 6 months have already passed, and I haven't done it. And that was a mistake I frequently did. Aquas
That's because you're a developer, and this is always the problem, that developers do two things. They underestimate the time because they don't take into account all of the other distractions that happen. So when you're estimating the effort that it takes, not real spent time, not surpassed time. It's spent time. So you're saying, okay, it's going to do 6 months, and then in that 6 months, you may have had scope creep or a baby or won the lottery, and anything can happen, and you just need to stick a load of buffers in there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of assets out there that have died because of people not giving wrong estimations, but not keeping people aligned with the changes. So it's all
Right.
it's good, it's forgivable to say something will be ready in 6 months, and then 3 months down the line you say, hey guys, we're going to be 9 months, or we're not going to hit that deadline because we don't think we're going to meet that deadline. But there's a lot of asset devs out there who and they're not just asset devs in general. I mean, I've been I've gone, it's my 3rd decade now, and there's a lot of developers in all my life that I've worked with, and they'll bury their heads in the sand because they can think they can still make that deadline until the last minute of that deadline waiting, and then they'll go, actually we're not going to meet the deadline, because they don't want to disappoint. It's not because you're being underhanded in any way. It just comes down to developers just don't want to disappoint. They want people to be happy and love their work.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. One experience I made though was that in the past, it was before I published the version with that had the river feature. When people started asking, when are you going to be done? And I was like, it's not going to take very long. I should be done in 2 weeks or so. And then I realized that I've given myself quite a deadline. I was barely able to hold it, and I put myself under a lot of stress to get it done. And I managed to get it done like 4 weeks after I said I would.
Wow.
So I was off schedule, and I was so afraid of the reaction that I just didn't say anything. I just kept working as fast as I could. And then when I published, I realized nobody ever complained about it. Nobody said anything about it. So everyone seems to have been fine with it. I made myself a lot more stress than I should have. And it's the same with Aquas 2. I said 3 to 6 months. Maybe I shouldn't have. By now, I think I should take the approach that it's done when it's done, because I know I am way behind schedule. And I will be way behind schedule because the Aquas update has the most recent one has cost me a lot more time than I wanted it to, and yeah, since I have a day job that right now unfortunately costs me also a lot more time than I want to, I am behind schedule, and I won't be able to change that. I won't be able to fix that, and I'm taking the risk that a lot of people are gonna hate me for that.
You can fix it. You can quit your day
Pardon?
job. Quit the day job. You don't need to pay the rent. How dare you?
Yeah, yeah, good one. But
That's the thing. A lot of people sit there and they'll be like, "Where's my asset? Where's my updates? Where's my support?" Forgetting that actually a lot of asset developers are doing the assets part time in their bedrooms while they actually have a job, a family, and it's very difficult to manage working,
exactly,
developing an asset, support, because you're making Aquas 2 at the same time as still supporting your Aquas 1 customers.
yeah. And that's the thing. Now I have roughly 10,000 users. So at the beginning, I had maybe two support requests a week, roughly. Right now, I have between 5 and 10 every day.
No, wow.
Um, that is taking emails and private messages and forum posts all together. Um, so you have, but that's roughly between 5 and 10. Many of them are, you know, answered within a minute because it's something that I already know the fix to. Some things though I have to go to Unity and then do some testing, but that's not even it. That's not even it. I think um, the biggest problem for me is that Aquas 2 is a lot more complex than Aquas 1 was,
So
and
what are we looking at in Aquas 2 that we'll be able to do that we can't do in Aquas 1? I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm putting you on the spot.
it's gonna have physical waves in the first. That's its most important feature, and along with that feature comes a number of additional features that are required for physical waves, such as foam generation,
Oh, nice.
Procedural caustic generation, shore wave generation, like actual shore waves that are.
Hang on, whoa, whoa,
That's
whoa,
the
whoa,
way.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Are we going to have shore waves that look like shore waves and don't just look like some weird hob job?
You're gonna have shore waves that look like Gerstner waves, if you know what that is. You won't have shore waves that look like particle waves. There's particle water that is used in the movie industry. There is just no way to make that happen in video game, and it doesn't exist. Gerstner waves are a simplified version of waves. Basically, the entire wave simulation is a Gauss distribution of Gerstner waves, but aligning them in a specific way will give you some quite nice looking shoreline waves, but it won't give you the shoreline waves that you're used when looking at a pre-rendered CGI.
Yeah, but they look better than anything we've got so far in Unity.
They may. I won't say.
Come and say it. You can do it.
Pardon?
You can say it.
They may be looking better than anything else we've seen on this store, but they may.
Because I played
But
a game.
no, the thing is, it's not for me to judge.
Oh, we'll judge it. Don't worry, baby. We'll judge. But I was playing a game that was what was it called? It's the one with the guys in chat. Do you remember that game I played? It was an Unreal game where it was with the Necromi, and we were escaping prison. And there was a scene on the river, and we were on a boat. I'm gonna have to alt tab and find it. Come on, guys in chat. What was the name of that game that we played?
That I don't know.
That that co-op 2-player co-op game.
The 2-player co-op game.
A Way Out. There you go. Beautiful. A Way Out river scene. All right. Let me. All right. There's one thing that I have to say about Unreal.
Okay.
And it does do good water, and everyone's waiting on you because there's a lot of people who have made water assets out there, you know, fancy river, sea, oceans and stuff. And like you were saying, it's performance. You can look pretty, but if it doesn't perform well, and you can't use it in a game, then you're just using it for a pre-rendered scene, and there's not much point to it.
Right.
If we look at this game was what we played, and it was Unreal.
Okay. You haven't shared your screen with me, so I'm only seeing
I'm useless with you, aren't I? Let me. Can you see on the stream while I'm?
I can see it, but it's delayed, isn't it?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, now.
Now, we were playing this, and basically we were doing so bad in the game because we were just distracted about how beautiful it looked. And everyone in chat was going, "Oh, I hate Unreal. We hate Unreal so much," because we were just trying to work out how could we do this in Unity. What would we do?
This would have to be a specialized river asset, but actually, what I see.
Look at that foam and see all that foam and all that fog and stuff that the water creates.
What I see adds most value to the water in that case is the water itself as much as it is the particle effects. If it wasn't for the particle, I mean, due to the particle effects, you barely see anything of the water. All you see is particles. But greatly made particles, nonetheless.
Oh, I want this in Aquas. I want to be making river scene like this waterfall.
Because look, if you pause that,
yeah, let's pause.
You've
got no water. All you've got is
all you have is particles.
And let's go to a bit where you actually had some water.
Yeah, go to a bit where you have some water. So here you go. Now what do you see most?
So the bit that made me excited is how it's crashing against the rocks.
That's also.
But that's just particles.
Yes, it is. That's no mesh being deformed on the rocks. There is no. I mean, particles, in fact, are a great way to make water. But in video games, particles always have to be a lot smaller, a lot larger. I'm sorry, than in pre-rendered CGI. In pre-rendered CGI, you may very well design your water in a way in which the entire water, everything, is only a huge mass of particles, and in that case, your water is going to look even more realistic. But in video game, you always have to find a compromise between between a mesh that is being deformed, which doesn't depict water quite the way it looks in reality, and particles that add some extra visual value to it. Now, if you have something like if you're using, for instance, Houdini, which is for pre-rendered
let me click on that you've sent me.
rendering. Yes,
You've sent me GIFs.
that is what water looks like if you made it entirely out of particles, and that's as realistic as it gets. But yeah, it'll be at least.
Hang on, wait, whoa, hang on. Wait, hang on. Hang on. I've clicked on this video that you've sent.
Yes. Yes.
You're telling me this isn't a video?
No, this is pre-rendered.
No. Stop being silly. You're telling me this is what?
Okay, let me look. Makes it clearer that it's actually pre-rendered and not.
Yeah, no, this isn't Unity.
No, this isn't Unity. You wouldn't.
Yeah, this is Houdini.
It's at least 20 years or so before you can do anything close to that in Unity. But it's simply that the hardware is not ready to render any of that in real time.
Yep, not Unity. Definitely not Unity. This isn't even like any, like, no Unreal, no CryEngine, no Amazon engine. Like, even the fact that it's pre-rendered, I don't even see that in a Disney movie.
It depends on how much effort they put into it.
That is beautiful. So this is what we can expect from Aquas 3 then. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's one that shows you that it's clearly not that's clearly not real. It's just pre-rendered, but it's the same principle. Using particles only. Now, for instance, if you were to make particles the GPU, right, using GPU particles, you may be able to simulate such a small chunk of beach in an area, a very limited area. On a GPU, you can do like a couple of millions of particles. Now, I guess this one would be at least 20 million particles, which would get most GPUs to their knees.
What is going on with YouTube and recommended videos next? I'm getting a bloke driving a car, and why is music so bad? I mean, I asked the question, why is music so bad? I'm nice that YouTube wants to show me those videos. I seem to have found...
YouTube evaluates what you watch and then determines what your potential interests are.
But that's the thing, I've never watched anything about racing cars. And,
are you sure?
Oh, the reason why it's showing me why is music so bad is because of bloody streaming. If we do !sexy time in chat with a song request, I tend to play that song for people and would occasionally sing it as well. And a lot of the time we get Slavic music. Exactly, okay. Sexy time, some song. And that's probably why YouTube has said, well, your taste in music is so bad. It's not my taste in music that's so bad. It's Son Goku's taste in music that's so bad. Thank you very much. I found a little red thing that came up.
Yeah.
Screen position out of view for strum, blah, 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 camera, render. What did I break?
It's an error. It's an error that kept popping up since Unity 3. Occasionally it does. Most of the time it doesn't. But I'm not sure anybody really knows where it comes from and what to do. What you can do, there's a bunch of things that you can do, right? First, try closing the scene tab and then reopening it. That's usually the first thing that I want to do.
No, got no readies. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, I have no idea where it comes from. It's sporadic. It's totally sporadic.
Unity is the gift that keeps on giving.
Pardon?
Unity,
Yes.
they're the gift,
Yes,
aren't
yes, yes. It's not exclusive for Aquas.
We have got questions where people are asking, is Aquas 2 2019?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I plan to have a beta ready in 2018, and I can only apologize for not done yet. But the current Aquas update I'm working on will probably be the last big update that I will do for Aquas, which doesn't mean that I'm gonna abandon it or so. But with that last update, I think 95% of the big user requests and feature requests that I got since Aquas first went live are going to be covered. So all updates that come after that will probably focus on compatibility stuff and make it compatible to the latest Unity version, and remove bugs or fix them if there are any, and that kind of stuff. And after that, Aquas 2 will be the main focus of my work, which I don't. So Aquas is not going to be abandoned, right? Because it's still a valuable asset, but it's aimed at a completely different type of environment. You do lakes and horizontal rivers and ponds and basins and all that stuff. While Aquas 2 will be for oceans exclusively. I mean, no, you'll be able to use it to make lakes too if you want to, but that would be a waste of resource, right? Because you barely have any physical waves in a lake, and just in order to have just a bunch of centimeters of height displacement, that would be a waste of resources.
I'm trying to take you seriously, and all I can think about is your poor cat in the background going, "Feed me, Daddy, feed me."
Pardon?
People, so we're listening about oceans and trying to be all serious, and all I can think of is meow.
Why?
Could have cat meowing in the background, and everyone in chat is saying, "Whose cat is that?"
Oh, I'm sorry, that's mine.
Yeah, no.
I got so used to that meowing. I got so used to that meowing that I don't hear it anymore. I'm sorry. My girlfriend's gonna give them some food, and hopefully they'll be quiet afterwards.
Because if anyone owns a cat, you recognise what that noise is. There isn't a cat that isn't the sound of a cat that's saying, "Hey, how you doing? Would you like to stroke me and have a cuddle?" That's a cat saying, "You seem to have forgotten that I need food in my belly, and if you don't put food in my belly now, I'm going to eat your face." People are asking, are the updates for Aquas going to be free, and is Aquas 2 going to be a standalone purchase, or is it going to be an upgrade?
It's going to be a standalone purchase. It's going to run parallel to Aquas. That's because, I mean, I thought for quite a while how I was going to make it, but Aquas 2 is completely different, not only in the type of environment that it's supposed to be used in, but also the way it works itself, right? With Aquas, you have a physical mesh that is available as an object. You can move it around. You can. It works with textures. It works with pre-rendered caustics, and no, not with pre-rendered. I'm sorry, with pre-drawn image sequences for caustics and all that. Well, Aquas 2 will be completely different. It's going to be
Let's have one.
entirely procedural, and it's going to be entirely procedural. It's not going to have a physical mesh. I mean, it is going to have a physical mesh, but it's not going to be available for as an object in the hierarchy. It's only going to exist in a script. It's going to be infinite water via projected grid. You know what that is?
I know nothing about any water assets or how you'd work them. So
okay,
I'm assuming you'd just be like you do the caustics.
Okay, so imagine if you will, Here's a video of an old preview video from I think 1.5 years ago, from Aquas 2. I think most people should have already seen it. This is for this video. The waves were calculated on the CPU, right? Right now they're being calculated on the GPU, but since I want to make them compatible to all versions of Unity, I wrote the shaders in CG, which was a bad decision because I realized that Unity can very much translate everything you make in HLSL to any platform that you're on. So I'm going to have to port that. What was I about to say?
Hang on a minute.
Let's have one more.
I'm looking at something now that the makers of Atlas, the game, where you're on the on the pirate ship sailing about, weren't even able to do properly using Unreal.
Okay.
And this is yours, what, a year and a half ago?
Yes, I mean, it was, I published it on October 2nd, 2017. That's something else. That's a tutorial video.
Give us some more juicy Aquas 2 stuff.
I don't have any videos. I don't have any videos I could share with you.
Sit at home going, I hate this guy so much. Brings me on his channel. Doesn't want to talk about Star Wars.
I'm just thinking about what I may be able to show you. But all that I have is currently on the laptop, and I'm on the desktop PC now. Just a second, because I may be able to show you something.
Let me just go through chat while you're doing that.
But I'm gonna have to share my screen with you.
Yeah, be groovy. Right? If you make sure there's nothing that you don't want anyone not to see. Yolan's asking, would it be more like? So it's more like Play Away without a physical mesh.
It's similar to Playway. It uses, Playway, Ceto, Ultimate Water, and Aquas 2 will use a very similar approach of calculating the waves themselves, because it's standard in the movie industry. It's standard in the game industry.
Ceto Ocean is amazing. So that's basically your competition. That it is the Cetos and the Ultimate Waters for large bodies of water is Aquas 2.
Well, actually, I don't think I would have even attempted to make Aquas 2 or had the idea if it wasn't for Ceto dropping out, because I have huge respect for the guy. I think it's a shame that he left, but I also understand his decision. I think he was quite pissed with having to make support all the time.
I know nothing about what happened with that, so
I don't know what exactly happened. I know he's. I wouldn't say he's brilliant, but he's an extremely good coder, right? And I don't know. At some point, he just didn't want to do it anymore.
So it's someone in chat is explaining to me that it's deprecated. So it's a deprecated asset on the asset store now. You can't get hold of Ceto.
No, you cannot get hold of Ceto. He made another asset that he published. He made an ocean, a very rudimentary ocean that he published on GitHub, which is the same principle. It works on the same principles. the methodology of wave generation being used, as I said earlier, in everything that's industry standard is using um, a method where you derive, where you in principle you grab a lot of amplitudes from a spectrum, the so-called Phillips spectrum, and then use a fast Fourier transform to assemble that all to a bunch of waves and then apply it on a mesh. Because that is easy because you can store everything in a texture and then apply that texture as a displacement map on a mesh. This is basically how it's being done. And he published Brunton's Ocean on GitHub, which is only to share a very a version. It's basically a version of CETA that is stripped down of a lot of features, but the key features, wave generation and projected grid, are in it. For most people, that will not be usable because it doesn't have underwater effects. It doesn't have any buoyancy effect, or it's not compatible with any other asset, because he said, I don't give a shit if it's compatible or not anymore. Here it is, and you can have it for free, and if you like it, you can use it, and if not, you can leave it, but leave me the F alone with a support request.
And that's the thing, though. When your asset is so complicated and is needed for doing such varied games, I mean,
let's have one.
You can't imagine. Well, you can imagine it, obviously, because of who you are. But how many different types of games and scenarios that you would be able to use the same water asset for? That there's never going to be a case where it's going to work exactly how people want it for their project out of the box, and they're going to be using it with so many different other assets and customizations that they've done, that there's always going to be people that are breaking or have broken or don't understand a complex asset. So there's unless you're a team, you outsource your support, or you have a tiered support system, which Unity won't let asset developers do. I don't think a complex asset is really gonna be able to sustain itself on that.
No, it's not. It needs constant support. Well, I think a lot of people, I mean, for instance, Aquas has a quick setup feature, which allows you to set up Aquas in, the average scene with the terrain and whatnot. If you want to have something very special, like I want to use my own custom mesh, I want to have various different water levels and so on and so forth. By the way, I'm ready to share my screen.
Oh, cool.
Want.
Let's do that, baby.
If you want to do all that, then you're going to have to, put a little bit of effort into it. And I cannot help you doing all this.
No.
I can only tell you, look, the quick setup is going to save you a lot of time. It's going to do a basic setup for you, for water in your scene. But other than that, if you want it more specific, look at what the quick setup did when it added water to your scene, and then you can build on top of that and manually start to customize your scene and add, like, I don't know, different layers of water and so on and so forth. But the quick setup, Aquas 2 will have one too. It will never be enough. I'm sorry, I'm right now.
All right, hang on. Before you start, we've got a couple of questions in chat. So let's go through that one in there. We've got question about never used Aquas. Can you ask him whether there's a way to create low poly water with Aquas?
Aquas is low poly.
Like like a kind of like a low poly style, like Cinti Studios.
Oh yeah. No, it's not suitable. It's not suitable for that because it's actually flat. Usually, when you look in low poly, your low poly mesh shouldn't form a plane mesh, which Aquas actually is. You need to have, in that case, you need to have physical waves. And when people approach me with that kind of request, I usually say, look, Aquas is not good for that. There's other assets that can do that. There is hard water. There is, I mean, you just type in low poly water on the asset store and you're going to find it.
Yeah.
Aquas cannot do that.
You got a question from Jonan based about the Aquas 2 and 1. Would you be able to use Aquas 1 and Aquas 2 in the same project where Aquas 1 is driving the small bodies?
You can, but the bodies would have to be separated from each other. Like, for instance, you may have an island with a mountain on it, and on that mountain you may have a lake. In that situation, for instance, you would be able to use Aquas 2 for the ocean and Aquas 1 for the lake. And you wouldn't need Aquas 2 to do the lake, because the lake barely has any physical waves, if that is the question.
Yeah, that's how I interpret it as well. Mark's just letting you know that your smoke detector needs a battery. Thank you, Mark. Sengoku has, he won't let this question go. And Sengoku is not normally, asking an asset dev what they think about somebody else's one. But, you have been talking about Ceto and other things. So he's asking, what do you think about Cascade versus Aquas? We've got a couple of people asking that question of Cascade versus Aquas. So Cascade's like river tool and...
yeah, exactly. Cascade's a river tool. Aquas it's good for rivers.
The new version of Cascade's opened, like, since then the updates has been opening up to lakes and larger bodies of water as well.
Yeah, right. The thing is, I don't know enough about Cascade to say how good or bad it is, but I know what it does. And for instance, Aquas can do horizontal rivers pretty well. Even it works fairly nice if you want to have big rivers. But there's a lot of people approaching me say, look, I want to have a river that flows downhill, like a small wild river. Can Aquas do that? And then I say, no, unfortunately not. This is not what it was designed for in the first place. If that's what you use, then usually I recommend river water material. It's because river water material was there first, and Bart from river water material immediately approached me and said, look, what if we make river water material and Aquas compatible, in the sense that Aquas may be able to blend in perfectly well with river water material? And I said, sure, why not? In that case, the assets would be complementary rather than competitive. So I guess it might work the same way with Cascade, but I was never approached by the publisher of Cascade. And if he intends to make his own lakes, fair enough. I won't be, like, I don't know. We'll just stay out of trouble with him.
It's a thing. Like, we just had this chat with Chris Development, who did IK Plus, and someone's asking what's the difference between his IK Plus and Final IK. And his answer is clearly, I don't know. I've never had it. I don't own it. I've never used it. I know what it does, but I don't own a copy of it, so I can't tell you exactly the differences between them. And actually, that's a lot of asset developers that I've spoken to over the year of doing these interviews. And right. The people at home think that because your customer, he'll buy Aquas, that same guy who bought Aquas also owns pretty much all the other water assets on the asset store, because that's the nature of us as customers. We tend to do that.
Right.
We buy everything we buy one thing, it doesn't do exactly what we wanted, and then we go and buy the next one and see if that does what we wanted, and then we buy the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. So a lot of people at home think that developers do the same thing. They're like, oh, I'm going to make an asset, I'm going to buy a load of other stuff, and then I'm going to see how they work. In myself, I've seen a few, because I'm making Muck, the messy ultimate character creator, and I've seen there's a couple of things out there on the store that already do a similar thing, or albeit not exactly how I'm doing it, and I'm intentionally not buying them and not looking at them, so that I can't be influenced in any way, because I don't want to be in a position where somebody goes, "Oh, you've copied my code," or you've just copied my idea. So this is people are asking me, like, in chat, sending me private messages, "Have you seen this? Is yours going to be different than that?" And they get confused when I'm saying, I haven't, and I don't want to see it. Thanks.
Right.
And it's like, it's a common thing. It is a competitor, really. So it's saying, TD is saying it's not really a competitor between Cascade and Aquas. We're looking now at Aquas 2 on Dogmatic's PC. So he has to be very careful because he's sharing now. He can't alt tab to do anything that he doesn't want us to see. And we're seeing now the wind. So as the camera goes up, you've got all of that funky underwater effects and stuff that you've got at a later stage that you're adding in. Because that's the other thing that a lot of these other game engines do. They don't even have the funky underwater stuff. So you were saying you've got procedural caustics?
Yes. Generated out of... from the height map, I generate the slope map that I use for normals, and from the normal map, I will then generate the caustics map, which will not be... technically, it will not be correct caustics, but for the viewer, it will look as realistic enough so that they won't be able to tell the difference between
they're not really going to know.
No, they're not really going to know. If I do my work right, they won't.
I love that caveat. If you do your work right.
Yeah.
Do you know what's... It's like sometimes you look at these videos and it's hard to remember that you're watching render, a game engine, and you're not looking at a real video of the ocean sometimes.
I'll take that as a compliment.
You should. When you're making it red, it just makes it look like you've just killed a shark. Like.
Yeah, I mean, that's just playing around. It took me quite some time to get that trimming working. It's I won't say how I did it, but I thought it would be useful for various situations. But actually, it's quite simple. It's reverse Fresnel, so I can just as well say it.
So look, I'm trying to see the stats that you've got. You got 242 FPS going on there.
Yes. But I'm not sure if I have... let me just quickly have a look at the quality. Whether I have... oh yeah, I have VSync on. If I turn that off, I get some more FPS. I can also if I make that grid, that FFT grid a little smaller, and get even more FPS.
Do you know what I want to see? And
what?
tell me if I'm just getting, like, misunderstanding everything. Right? I want to see, like we saw in that video with the pirates. I want to see ships sailing, firing cannonballs at each other, missing, causing massive splashes, and the water bending with the shape of the boats as they're passing through the water.
Okay, and you want me to do that right now?
No, I'm saying that's what I want.
Oh, you'd love to see that.
That's what I want in my water, in my ocean, in my game.
Actually, I always want to make an RTS ship game.
We don't make mistakes. We
I
have
just
happy
don't have the
accidents.
time to do it. The original plan was to, to create assets until I have something that can, fund me or fund my time, so I can use that time developing games. But I'm still in the asset state.
I know that feeling.
I mean, it's something, for instance, Tasharon has done it. For those of us who have been on the store for a couple of days now, the very most popular asset of all times used to be NGUI, right?
Yeah.
For before Playmaker took that spot, and when NGOY was so big, Tasharan Entertainment took the money and made a game. The game was far from being as good as NGOY as an asset, but then he went on Steam and sold just short of 500,000 of copies. So that explains why he dropped support for NGOY almost entirely.
Wow.
Because he didn't have to.
What was the game?
What was it called? Just a second. I'm gonna have to look it up.
While you're looking that up, we do have Salty Sea Dogs Captain Murphy's boats being raffled today. So
Okay.
if you want pirate ships, you could be a winner and get some pirate ships.
Okay, cool.
Where is Irish John?
Windward was the name.
Windward. There you go. Salty Foo found it and all. Windward. Where is it?
Windward, not Windward.
Hang on, how'd you spelling it?
Pardon?
Windward. Yeah, wind, as in wind? As in breaking wind? Passing wind?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So whose water is he using?
He used his own, and I tested it. I was unsatisfied because for that time it was. I mean, it looked nice. But it wouldn't have been enough for a desktop, but it wasn't performant on mobile, so it didn't. I couldn't use it basically.
Hang on a minute. What? Let me put you on mute 1 second while my kids are screaming. I'll be back in 2 secs. Dogmatic, would you like to sing to people while I'm away?
I tell you what.
To sing to people while you're away. No, but I can. I can tell a limerick or so. Maybe one for programmers. Hello. Massey's gone, it seems, when I'm alone. So I'm just going to give you a limerick. To all who love to code. Here's one. Because I'm not a really good entertainer, but I'm going to try. I'm going to say, there came a language after C that was supposed to set us all free. Objects were the fuzz for this language called C++. It was just a fancier way to crash your PC. And Python was a language for you and me. It was simple and clean but slow, we agree. But that was okay. We loved it anyway, until it went from version 2 to version 3. I hope people are still following along. Oh, you're back. Okay.
I'm so glad it wasn't the same limerick he gave me the other day.
No.
My stream would have been
that
cancelled and I would have been banned for life.
No, in order to do that other limerick, I would have had to ask you if explicit language is.
No,
I've
got the maturity filter turned off. So
Okay.
I had the warning that came up when I did that said, if you're caught doing any blah blah blah, you'll be banned for life. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Okay. But yeah, here you go. Finally got some merch because people are saying, we want to find more ways of how to support you. Well, there you go. We had a question about World Creator. We're giving away copies of World Creator, which is an amazing asset. And
oh yeah, it is. I used it to make the terrains for the demo video.
This is the question: is Aquas compatible with Terrain Creator?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's written in the asset description.
There you go. You just need to read the asset description.
It's basically compatible with all the tools that produce Unity terrain. With tools that produce terrain that is not Unity terrain, I can guarantee it. But I wouldn't say it's incompatible. I would say it should be compatible to every object that has, with all objects that have opaque shaders on them. That also includes terrains that are not Unity but have opaque shaders. Chances are extremely high that Aquas is going to be compatible to them.
I want to play with your Aquas too. When it's ready, are you going to come back on the stream so we can play together?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. It's a date.
Okay.
And you're going to come back on before then so we can talk about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to do a session about Star Wars.
So people who
go through the
don't
entire
know,
last movie because I'm really in rage mood when I hear Star Wars.
now I did tweet for my Twitter followers my opinions of The Last Jedi, and I got into a nice conversation with Jay on Twitter, and me and Dogmatic were having our test call the other day, and the test call, I actually got home from work. It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock by the time I got home, and gave you a call. It was about that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about that time, and I was planning to have, like 10 minutes testing.
Yeah.
Testing.
And we started talking about Star Wars.
For 4 hours.
So we were after about the fourth hour of chatting about Star Wars, we were like, you know what, this might actually make a good stream. So
yeah, because it was fun.
I guess he didn't like The Last Jedi. Well, I'm not going to ruin it for you, VR Game Zone. You're going to have to join us for the non-game dev related Messy Coda and Dogmatic stream. It's going to be our Star Wars podcast.
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be a bit different, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. The Last Jedi ruined everything, but let's not get there. We'll talk you through. Let's go there, but when we have the appropriate stream. Right now, we need to say a messy goodbye. We'll clean up afterwards to Dogmatic, the legend who doesn't believe he's famous, but it turns out he is. Man behind Aquas. He's not only the man behind Aquas, he's also, I didn't realise this was you,
please.
The building placement RTS.
This was my very first asset. I don't know why I left it on.
Now,
it's mediocre.
I was lucky enough to be gifted a copy of this by Dogmatic the other day when I invited him onto the channel, because I was like, oh, this was you. Because I've actually made my own version of this for the Mexico tutorial series, which I haven't got round to continuing because we got distracted with muck. I'll show it to you later. Basically, with my new Mexico series, you're going to love it. The cameras, it's beautiful. It's better than Tropico ever could be. It makes you tingly. It makes your hair stand on ends. It makes your cats meow. Oh, all right. And on that note, Dogmatic, thank you so much for the generosity.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time. And catch you later, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, that was it for another live dev interview. I hope you had fun and enjoyed yourselves. You too can take part if you pop over every Fridays and Saturdays on allthews.twitch.tv/themessycoda, 9 PM GMT time. If you want to know what it is in your time zone, use Google. So don't forget to tell all of your friends and neighbours. If you do like it, click it. Till next time. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now. And down below, there's that big juicy subscribe button. And right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.